Hey English 102 students, welcome to week 7 of our course. We're almost halfway through our semester. Spring break is coming up in just a week, so I hope you're looking forward to some time off and some time to rest and recharge your batteries a little bit. Okay, so like always, make sure you start off your week in course information. Go ahead and download the course calendar and take a look at what's coming up for this week. I've already done that like usual. And so we'll take a look at what you did in week 6 and where we're moving on to in week 7. So you did the first half of module 4 in week 6. You also finished up a couple of activities from module 3. And I think you started to get some feedback from your classmates on your research topics and questions. I did start to give some feedback to some students about the middle of this past week. And if you haven't received feedback on that yet, I will be getting that to you very soon. 4.1 and 4.2 is they were kind of like brainstorming activities, right? So, this week you're going to be moving from 4.1 and 4.2 into 4.3 and 4.4. So we're going to stay in that module. So let's go ahead and head over to module 4 and see everything that's going on over there. All right, so here we go down to our course modules and into module 4. And so this week we're really going to be getting into academic research, the name of that module. Okay, so in assignment 4.1, you really thought about the current status of your research topic. Maybe you've already seen some of your classmates' feedback. Maybe you even saw some feedback that I gave to you as well. So based on that, you kind of thought about, okay, is this going to be a good topic? Is it going to work out for me? Is this the right direction I want to take? So it's just kind of giving you a chance to take stock of where you're at. In assignment 4.2 is really where you start to brainstorm some keywords. So in the video, choosing search terms, this gives you some really good ideas of ways that you can narrow down your topic by choosing different search terms. And taking a look at this document that's attached here, I think it's a pretty helpful one. Let me just move down here a little bit so I can get it open. Okay, so to summarize what you learned in that video, you start a list of keywords on your topic. So you've all got topics in mind and certain directions you want to take with your topics. Go back to your research question that you wrote about in assignment 3.4, and that's where you can pull out some content words from that research question. Any nouns or adjectives or adverbs, words that are not the connector words like the or to or something. Those words will help to give you keywords that you can then use to search in databases in all of our library resources. Okay, then you'll try out your keywords. You can use words like and if you want to use more than one term. The video walked you through how to do that. You can use or if you want to find, let's say, a certain term or another term. It opens up your search. If you use and by connecting two words, it actually narrows your search. Now, if you use not, maybe you say one word but not another word, it will limit your search a little bit. So there are different ways of expanding and limiting your search. Okay, the video also walked you through different ways to expand your keyword list. Let me just open up the document all the way here. You can make broad keywords more specific. You can use synonyms. The video suggested different synonyms, for example, for infants or teenagers. And you can even use subject terms from the databases and online catalogs. The video showed you how to do that too. And then you can just try lots of different combinations. And I actually have received a few emails this week of students who needed a little bit of help with identifying keywords and finding some initial sources on their topic. And even by email, those conversations go very well. We can often find the keywords maybe that you couldn't find. Sometimes it's helpful to just have a person give you suggestions, give you other ideas, and that even leads you to more ideas on your own too. Okay, so back to module 4. So now that you've got those keywords, okay, now it's time to start trying them out. So in assignment 4.3, this is called the Academic Research Skills Web Quest. Okay, what's a web quest? It's basically kind of like an online scavenger hunt where you get clues or different tasks that you have to do that your teacher gives to you, and it sort of walks you through how to do a larger task. So if you open this up, it's set up as a test. It's not actually a test, it's a homework assignment in this class. So you'll get points for completing each one of the tasks in this web quest. So there are different questions. The first one is all about popular versus scholarly sources. You're going to be learning about evaluating the quality of different academic sources in question 2. And you'll notice that each question has points assigned to it. So as long as your answer is a good one, you've made a good effort, you've got details in your answer, I will award you points for your answer based on how much effort you've put into it, based on the scale that you see in the syllabus for homework assignments. Okay, you're also going to be getting familiar with our Jackson Library homepage, all the different links and useful information that's there, especially for online learners. You're going to be learning about different subject and course guides. We have a specific one created for English 102, and so it's going to walk you through that subject guide and all the resources that are available to you there. You'll also learn how to use Bearcat Search. That's one of the first things you see when you get on the library homepage. So this is going to, this one is actually an optional activity and there are no points assigned to it, so you don't have to do this unless you need to. I've given you this question as an optional activity in case you're not familiar with Bearcat Search or you don't have an account there yet. Make sure you do have a Bearcat Search account and you've used it before and you're familiar with it before you move on to the next questions. Okay, and in question 6, you're going to be learning about finding articles in databases. This is where all those keywords are going to come in really handy because to start searching for articles in databases, having the right keywords is going to get you the best results, or being able to search with different sets of keywords will give you different sets of results, which might really give you a great collection of sources for your topic. All right, on question 7, you're going to be specifically searching in one database called Academic Search Complete. Academic Search Complete is kind of like the one-stop shop of databases for academic research. It's sort of like a generalist database. Once you've searched in Academic Search Complete, then it's useful to move on to some other databases that pertain just to your topic area. And if you need advice about other databases that you can use for your topic, just get in touch with me and I'll be glad to give you other ideas. Okay, and here in question 8 is exactly where you're going to look for those other databases. So after you've used Academic Search Complete, what are 2 other databases that might be useful to you, depending on your topic area? All right, and we're almost there. Here you're going to be finding ebooks and books. So question 9 will walk you through how to do that. And then finally, questions 10 and 11 are all about Google Scholar. So if you've never used Google Scholar before, these 2 questions will help you understand how to do that, and also how to take what you find in Google Scholar and apply it to our library's resources. Sometimes you'll find an article that's not full text, but it looks like a great article. You can often take that article from the information you found about the article from Google Scholar and go and find it in our library. Question 11 is going to walk you through how to do that. Okay, so that's all right there. Okay, so there are 11 questions and each of the tasks does take some time. So that's why this week you just have 2 assignments. Okay, let me get out of that. All right, we'll leave the test for now. We're going to head back over to the modules area. And one more assignment that you're going to be working on in Module 4 this week. But really quickly, the extra credit week 7 video code is the following one. So it looks like it says Spring Break 2021, right? But notice that the I in spring and the 1 in 2021 are both exclamation points. And the E in break is a 3, so it's almost like a backwards E. So you might want to pause the video at this point just to write it down or take a picture of it, and make sure you enter that in the link this week to get your extra credit point. Okay, back to Module 4. All right, so this web quest is going to give you a broad introduction to all the digital resources available to you to do research on your topics. And please don't hesitate to ask me if you have questions about how to use any of them or how any of them work. In assignment 4.4, and this one, just like 4.3, might take you a little bit longer than some of the shorter assignments you've done in other weeks, so that's why you just have 2 assignments this week. So in assignment 4.4, this one is called Research Notes. And as it tells you in the description, you should have hopefully a good collection of potential sources for your final research paper before doing this assignment. And 4.3 is going to allow you to find some of those. So you're going to need to have at least 6 sources to be able to do assignment 4.4. So that's the other thing you're going to be working on with these 2 assignments, is collecting articles from databases, magazine articles, newspaper articles, ebooks. And with ebooks, even though they might have a lot of chapters in them, it doesn't mean you have to read the entire book from cover to cover to use it. You might just use one chapter. So definitely take advantage of ebooks as well. Okay, so once you've got your collection of sources, then you're going to be putting them into this chart, which is kind of like synthesizing your sources. And what do I mean by that? You have research questions, things you want to answer about your topic, and by this time you should have sources. So what you need to do is take those questions that you have and look for answers to those questions in your sources. Let's start by looking at Research Notes Coronavirus. And this is an example of this assignment I created back when the pandemic first hit. So the information is not going to be really current in this chart, but it shows you what you need to do. So you remember for assignment 3.4 that you created a research question and you got some feedback on it already. So you can keep that research question, and maybe it'll end up being in research question 1 in this box right here. Then you're going to add a couple of other research questions because you're going to ask more than one thing about your topic to become an expert in it, right? So you can add 2 other research questions about your topic and put those in boxes 2 and 3. So like I said, I created this when COVID first became a thing. And so my first research question was, what is it anyway? I mean, we've learned so much since that time, right? Why is it such a global health emergency? So like I might even use the TED Talk that you watched a couple of weeks ago with Elena Scheich. She might be a good source of information for that. And so that's what I wanted to know at that point in time, back in like March or April of 2020. Research question 2, because it originated in China, I asked, how can China prevent the spread of the coronavirus? Obviously, we're asking that question of every country in the world now, but that was my question at the time because that was early in the whole thing. And then question 3, what are other countries like the US doing to prevent the spread? Now, if I were to reconstruct this chart, I would combine questions 2 and 3 and ask about all the countries, and I'd probably ask something about vaccines in question 3 if I were going to update this. Notice that all the questions are asking for specific information. None of them is asking a yes or no question. A yes or no question isn't going to get you anywhere in your research. You need to ask specific questions. So note, what is this virus? I need details. How can China prevent the spread? What are some methods that they should put in place? What about other countries? Okay, what could the US have done at that time to prevent the spread? Okay, so you'll notice that this chart has 6 sources. The first 3 are all credible websites. In the web quest in assignment 4.3, you're going to be learning how to evaluate a website for its credibility. So these should be credible websites, reliable information on the topic. So I chose the CDC, I went to npr.org, and I went to New York Times. None of them are perfect sources either. I mean, the CDC is a governmental source. NPR and New York Times are journalistic sources. They might have their biases too, and I recognize that. But the goal here with this chart is to take information from different sources and synthesize it and put it together in one place. That way you can kind of evaluate the strengths and weaknesses. You can see which questions are answered by different sources and the types of answers that they give to you. So it's a helpful way to kind of map out what you have and see what you want to keep, not keep, and also to give you paraphrases and quotes that you can use later when you're writing other essays about your topic. So the first side is websites. When you move to page 2, you have the same 3 research questions, but now we have 3 other sources. I have an article from Academic Search Complete, and I have another article from, this one is a newspaper article, but I took it from the database Global Issues in Context. It's from the Toronto Star. And finally, I have a video that I actually found in the ebook collection database. So even the ebook database has other stuff besides ebooks, I discovered when I put this chart together. Okay, so what you're going to notice is in this chart, not all the boxes are filled, right? The CDC websites, I was able to find answers to all 3 of my questions about what the virus is and what countries like China and the US could do to prevent its spread. As we move down, let me go back to that. Okay, as we move down the chart, I was able to find some information about what the virus is from NPR. I was able to find information about what the US should do to prevent its spread in the New York Times. Going on to the second page from the database, I found some pretty interesting information about maybe this virus coming from bats originally, from a database article, like a medical journal article. I was able to find this information about China from the Toronto Star. And then finally about what the US is doing to prevent the spread or deal with the virus from this video from the EBSCO ebook database. So I would say about maybe half of your boxes should be filled in with either quotes or paraphrases that you're taking from those sources. And you do not need to fill in every box because not every source is going to have an answer for every question that you're asking. That wouldn't even be possible. It would be a highly unusual situation if all your sources answered all your questions. So what this chart is meant to show you is that your sources are going to work together in different ways to give you different pieces of information. And that's why you have multiple sources of information. They give you different perspectives on a topic. Okay, so going back to assignment 4.4, hey, you'll see that there's another link here called Research Notes Template. And when you open this, it's just a blank document that you are going to fill in with your own details. So you'll put your topic right here. You'll put your 3 research questions right here at the top. And you're going to put information about each of your research sources. And it should be just like the chart, the example that I showed you. 3 reliable websites on the front side and 3 database sources on the other side of the document on page 2. And you'll notice in the example, I gave myself enough information to be able to go and find that source later. So I have links to my web articles on page 1, and on page 2 I wrote down typed here the title of the article, which database I got it from, so I can easily go back to the database and find it. But you should be able to download and save those articles in like a folder on your computer too. So that just gives me enough information that I know where I can go and find that source again. So you're just going to go ahead and use that coronavirus example as your model, and you're going to go ahead and put together a research notes chart that goes along with your topic. So since this assignment and assignment 3.3 are going to take a little more time than some of the other assignments, that's why you just have 2 assignments for this week. And definitely get started on them early in the week. Even with the web quest, I would recommend, you have 11 questions there, do 2 per day. And that shouldn't take you that long. With the research notes, you just need to make sure you have 6 sources and before you can get started on it. But do a source a day. So you could basically say, okay, on Monday, I'm going to do 2 items from the web quest and 1 source for my research notes chart. And if you do that every day, you'll finish it and it won't feel stressful at all. Okay, so any questions that you have about either of these assignments, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. Definitely look out for commentary on assignments 3.3 and 3.4 if you haven't received that yet, about your topics and research questions. And your curiosity exploration essays will be back to you with grades and feedback no later than tomorrow, maybe Tuesday morning at the very, very latest. But you'll have it back in the next day or so. Hey, so I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.